What's up, guys? Welcome back. Daniel here from Epic D Media. Today we're going to find out and see if we can get some cinematic footage with our GoPro 10. Let's check it out. Alright guys, let's get to it. So on this one here, to see if I can get some cinematic footage on my GoPro 10, I'll run you through some of the settings that I used, kind of walk you through on how I used them. Now, the GoPro is not meant for cinematic or any type of fancy photography. It's never really been known for that. But man, the better and better these GoPros get, the more you're able to do with them. And I've got the Hero Black 10. Actually, they're not even called the Hero anymore. It's just the GoPro Black 10. These things are nice. They're nice. They work for what you need them to do, and usually that's action sports. But you can also get some awesome shots and awesome video. I'll walk you through some of the settings here and what I did, and see if that'll help you out on getting a little bit of cinematic footage yourself with your GoPro. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so let's go through here and show you some of the settings that I use when I'm filming cinematic on my GoPro. So if we go to the bottom here, there's a shortcut. Right now it says indoor because that's the indoor shortcut that I have on the camera already preset. And I'll make another video showing you how to make some shortcuts if you don't know how. But I'll show you the cinematic shortcut that I have. But also I'll run you through the settings that I use. So anyways, here we go. So as you can see here, you have I have a cinematic shortcut. So if I was to click on the edit button right here on the side, that'll take us to the settings. So these are really important. I suggest when you film cinematic, you always want to film in either 4K or 5.3K when you're using the GoPro 10 or higher, just because you want to utilize the highest resolution possible when filming. That way you can crop in later if you have to or whatnot, and you don't really lose anything. So if you can film in 5.3K, then do it. Now, depending on if you want to slow down your footage or you don't want to slow down your footage, depends on your frames per second. If you want to slow down your footage in post, then I would recommend using 60 frames per second just to kind of give you that real nice slow buttery look when you slow it down. If you don't plan on slowing it down, then I would stick to 24 frames per second. Also on the lens, so I would always leave it to linear plus horizon leveling. I just find if you use narrow, it's just way too narrow. If you use linear, it's the same as horizon leveling. It's just that with the horizon leveling, you get a perfectly straight horizon, so to speak, on the camera. So if you tilt it side to side just a little bit, it doesn't really alter the footage. And wide is just too wide for a cinematic look. So I would just leave it on linear plus horizon leveling. Hyper smooth, you have to leave that on standard. No mess with anything here. So let's go down to Pro Tune. You always want your bitrate set to high. So you always want your bitrate high. If you leave it on standard, you're just not going to get that good of quality. Always want to leave it on high. Takes up a little more space on your SD card, but it's worth it. Shutter speed, you don't really need to mess with shutter speed because these GoPros do an excellent job with their hyper smooth and being able to take shots. It's just, if you start messing with the shutter speed on the camera without ND filters, it's not going to work out. So for this purpose of making cinematic footage, you want to leave that on auto. You don't really want to go messing around with the shutter speed. Not unless you have ND filters, like I said. EV comp, I usually leave that on -0.5, just because GoPro tends to overexpose your image just a little bit, so I usually leave it on -0.5. White balance, you can leave that on 5K or 55K, depending on the brightness of the day. ISO min, I'll leave that on 100. ISO max, again, these GoPros have such a small sensor. Kind of like with the shutter speed, you don't want to go messing with the shutter speed if you really don't know what you're doing. ISO max, if it's a really bright day outside, leave the ISO max on 100. 100 to 200 max. Don't go cranking up the ISO to 800 or 1000 or 1600. It's just not needed. You're going to get grainy footage. Now, unless it's super dark or you just need a little bit of more brightness in the image where you're filming, then you can increase that value. But I would leave the ISO on 100 to 200. I really wouldn't go increasing that ISO. It's just going to make your footage look grainy. And yeah. These other couple, really important. So on sharpness, you always want to keep that on low. I find that the medium profile on the GoPro, it does have some sharpness to it. It's not really medium. It is pretty sharp. And then obviously the high is just super too sharp for any type of cinematic footage. So I would leave that in low. If you need to add any sharpness, you can always add it in post whenever you're editing. So not that big of a deal. Color, flat. Film in flat. I always say film in flat. If you go for a natural color, on the fly, if you don't feel like doing any color corrections or anything, natural color is okay. It's not too bad. I would definitely stay away from vibrant for a cinematic shot. They're just too bright. But my recommendation would be to leave it in flat. It's a true color profile, and you can still color correct or do anything in post if something looks too dull or not, colorful enough for you or whatnot. So leave it in flat. Gives you more flexibility. And that's about it. These are just some shortcuts down here. This is just my preferential shortcuts. Like I said earlier, I can, always make another video on shortcuts, and I probably will do that. But yeah, those are the settings that I leave it on for cinematic footage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of that cinematic footage that I actually took not too long ago on a family vacation that we took to the mountains. So check it out. Here it is. Chestnut Knob Trail, which I haven't been out here in what, 5 years at least. So we're about to see how much has changed and kind of see, what the difference is between here and some of the trails that are in higher elevation, like in Boone, which is where we usually do all of our hiking at, like in the Pisgah. But yeah, so we're gonna go through here, and like I said, haven't been out here in about probably at least 5 years, so I'm gonna check it out and see how it is. All right, let's go. right, we made it to the top. Not too bad. Yeah, it wasn't that hard. I guess if you're not used to this type of terrain, then it is, but definitely not too bad, I guess. So we're gonna go over here to the overlook area and then see what we can see from there, but we are at the top. So let's go. Alright, so that about wraps it up, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video and some of those quick tips that I showed you, and hopefully you'll be able to get some cinematic footage on your GoPro 10 or any GoPro for that matter with those settings. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe. More content coming. And again, till next time.